Happy Saturday morning, everybody. Let's find a comfortable seat to start. So we've been going through the different yamas. Yamas are the so-called moral restraints, and they are the first of the 8 limbs or stages of yoga, as described in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. I want to open up with the actual sutra about it. It says, and this is one of my favorite ones, it's to one established in truthfulness, actions and their results become subservient. And then just a quick quote from the explanation of it. With establishment and honesty, the state of fearlessness comes. Then I did a little more digging and reading from other resources. This one is from Gaia website by Laura Hand. Satya is offered in the Yoga Sutras as the second of 5 yamas, which are often misguidedly referred to as restraints or right living rules. I like her perspective on this. Nirmala Joy Devi, however, describes them as reflections of our true nature, because our true nature is inherently good. The yamas can be thought of as behaviors that reflect our innermost essence. To understand Satya as one of the yamas, it is important to know that it comes after ahimsa by design. Yesterday's class was about ahimsa, nonviolence. The yamas are not mutually exclusive. They are interdependent, and there is an element of hierarchical balance between them. In that hierarchy, ahimsa, or kindness, nonviolence, always comes first. This is particularly important to remember as we determine when and how to speak the truth, as Satya is generally truthfulness. In the Art of Living website by Sijal Shah, he reminds us of a Sufi saying, before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. The first, is it true? Second, is it necessary? And third, being in words, in actions, and in intentions. At the highest level, Satya is to be with what is right now, to be connected with something that is not changing, which is your true inner nature. We have a tendency to identify or label ourselves with things that are unreal. We talked about this in the ego conditioning, like our thoughts, our feelings, moods, actions, experiences, judgments, opinions. How many times do you catch yourself saying, I am sad, I am angry, rather than the truth of, I feel sad, I feel angry? The latter, I believe, is more empowering to recognize that that is not you, nor is it a permanent part of your being. So all temporary and constantly changing modalities. I shared yesterday that in meditation, I was chanting the mantra, I am not my thoughts, and how that led to a release, a relieving insight at the end. So I want to end with this old mantra, ancient Sanskrit mantra. I'll tell you the translation in English first. Let my journey be from the unreal to the real, from darkness or ignorance to light or knowledge, from mortality or finite to immortality, infinite. Peace, peace, peace. And in Sanskrit, asatoma satgamaya, amasoma jyotir gamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So what does it mean to practice truthfulness beginning here on the mats and honoring your strengths and your limitations in the current being physically and even energetically? You know, sometimes we come to the mat and we've had such a heavy emotional or mentally stressful week or physically active, and we just need to slow down. Maybe it's going to be a lot of child's poses or lighter versions of physical postures. What does doing your best mean in the context of moment to moment? So let's find a comfortable seat, grounding evenly through the left and right sitting bones, lifting tall through the center of your spine, and resting your hands on your lap. As you acknowledge what is for you in the moment, what would you like to open your mind, body, being to experience here? Setting your intention or sankalpa. As you breathe in deeper, from down towards the earth. As you breathe out slower through the mouth, lift up through the crown of your head and feel your heart slightly rise. Filling the belly as you breathe in, expanding through the lungs. And as you empty the breath, feel the belly gently hollow, drawing in towards the spine. Continue deep belly breaths using your diaphragm and close the lips, either breathing like this, slow and steady, or prepare to start Bhastrika or bellows breath, pranayama. I'll do a quick demonstration. Using the diaphragm, eyes closed, breathing just through the nose. Elbows bent apart, hands like fists to start. Then we'll inhale, raise the arms, spread the fingers. Exhale, bend the elbows again. Rhythmically, here it goes. So I'm gonna watch the clock for 1 minute if you'd like to join me for that. Let's prepare. Bend the elbows, sit tall, and go. Relax. And let's slowly transition to Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breath. Closing the lips still and sustaining the breath equally through the nose, while gently narrowing the back of your throat. Creating a soft whispering sound to let your mind focus on, helping it to anchor. And then softly open your eyes. Let's begin on all fours, hands and knees. So do set your knees right under your hips, set your wrists right under your shoulders, and then spread your fingers wide, pointing the index fingers parallel to each other, facing the front of your mat. Gaze on the floor just in front of your hands, lengthening all the sides of your neck. Now, think of the space right between the shoulder blades and slightly dome that area. Not a full rounding of the back, but just the upper back. So you feel your lats right at the sides of the upper back engage. Now keeping that, lift the navel, the lower belly, just firming the abdomen. Now firm the outer hips towards the midline, trying to keep them balanced, and begin to flex the right foot off the ground, straightening the right leg behind you. Turning your right outer hip towards the floor so that if you looked under your belly at your right toes, you can see all 5 toes facing the floor. Notice if the left hip begins to sway to the left a bit, just hug it in towards the center line of the body. Now feel your hands rebound your weight off the ground so that your shoulders have space. Look ahead, and then maybe you explore walking the left fingertips forward and beginning to raise the left arm as though you're about to shake someone's hand. If so, lift the upper arm alongside your ear and draw the left shoulder back. So just like your hips, you're mindfully leveling out your shoulders. Keep lifting through the sides of your waist. How's your breathing? Feel the muscles in your lifted leg engage as if you're actually pressing your right heel firmly against a wall. Is the lower back starting to collapse or the belly collapse? Lift the navel towards the spine. Broaden the collarbones. Lengthen the neck. We've got 3 more breaths here in this practice of core stability, just recognizing your team of muscles around your torso that help to stabilize your spine. Now set your left hand on the floor so your wrist again is right under the shoulder, and lower your right toes, spinning the right heel to the ground. We're preparing for a modified side plank. Press the ground with the left hand and rebound and lift up through the left hip as you raise the right arm to the sky. Now, if you need more support to balance, you could slide your left shin behind you, sort of like a kickstand on a picture frame. And then as you reach up to the right hand, notice that your wrists and shoulders stack in one line. If you feel pretty stable and you want to explore more challenge in balancing, flex the right foot off the ground so your heel is about the crown of your head, lengthening towards the front of the mat. Reach the right arm overhead, finding a strong line of energy from right heel to right fingertips. Take another in breath, steady and slow. Sweep the right arm overhead and set the right hand back to the ground. Set the right knee back to the ground. And flip the left palm to face up, fingertips towards the knee. Just take a couple of deep breaths, stretching the left outer wrist and forearm. You might even gently shake your head no and make sure there's no added tension in your neck or your jaw. Now set your left hand flat, wrists right under shoulders, fingers spread. Slightly dome the upper back, engage the lower belly, gaze forward, steady breath. Flexing the left foot, begin to lift the leg behind you so your heel is just about the height of the hip. Notice in doing that, does the right hip begin to sway over to the right? If so, hug it in towards the center line of your body. Does the belly start to dump down? If so, lift it towards the lower back. You might even look at your left toes from under your belly and see that they're all facing the ground, which helps to know that you are squaring your hips, balancing core stability. How's the breath? If you want to explore further, try crawling the right fingertips forward, raising the right arm so the upper arm is alongside your ear, drawing the right shoulder back so just like hips, shoulders are even. Nice, calm, deep breaths. Keep getting longer and longer as you reach forward through the crown of your head and right fingertips, and as you reach back to your tailbone and inner left heel. About 3 more breaths here. Notice if there's any added tension somewhere. Sometimes when we're focusing, like right between the eyebrows or the shoulders rising towards the neck, keep rebounding your weight off the left hand. Now do set the right hand down again so the wrist is right under your shoulder, index fingers pointing forward. Lower the left toes and spin the left heel flat. Coming into a modified side plank as you raise the left arm, feel the rooting down of the right hand to lift up. Also, you feel a little lift in that right hip so that you're using your obliques, the muscles along the sides of your waist. How's the breath? Now, if you want added support for balancing, you could slide the right shin behind you so it's perpendicular to your mat. If you want added challenge, you could flex the left foot off the floor, just about the height of your hip. Keep lifting the right waist. Maybe you sweep the top arm overhead, keeping the shoulders relaxed away from the neck. Notice your center and how you're containing it, a feeling of strength and aliveness right below the belly button. Let's take a couple last breaths. Imagine your tailbone is reaching for your inner left heel. Now, if you're not doing it, go ahead and sweep the left arm overhead. Breathe in. Carefully set the left hand down, set the left knee down, And flip your right palm to face up. Let's stretch the outer wrists. Draw the shoulders back. And take a couple of deep breaths. Ujjayi style of breathing is wonderful for keeping the nervous system calm, helping the mind to focus, and warming the body up. So let's set the hands flat, this time with your wrists a couple inches in front of your shoulders, preparing for downward dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, and draw your weight back. Take the first 5 breaths or so here, if you'd like, to shift around, like pedaling the feet in place, gently shaking the head, nodding it. As you root down through finger spread, reach your weight out to your fingertips as if you're trying to push the mat away from your feet. And let your shoulders rise. Continue to spread the shoulder blades across the upper back, creating stability in the shoulders. And as your sitting bones lift, you might bend the knees a lot in the beginning to truly find a full free length of your spine. Let the belly stay firm towards the back. And then bring your attention to the fronts of your thighs, right up at the creases of your hips. Press that area up towards the ceiling and back towards the rear wall. Now let's take a few more breaths in stillness here in Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. With your next inhale, slowly raise the right leg behind you, flexing the foot, pause. So notice how similar this is to what we're doing on hands and knees. Square the hips, draw the left hip back, equally lengthen the sides of your torso and neck and arms. Take another breath as though you're pressing the right heel against the rear wall. Then slowly bend the knee towards your nose, rounding forward in plank pose, pause. Inhale, lift the belly a bit more, and then try to softly land the foot just inside of your right hand. Come into a lunge of your choice so we can start to flow. So it means back knee on the ground or back knee lifted. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, begin to straighten the right leg by plugging the thigh bone back deeper into the hip socket while lengthening your spine forward to bow. Let's go back and forth. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, scissor, straighten and fold. 3 more breaths. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, straighten. This time, lower the back knee if it's not already. Come into a lunge. Bring the energy into your legs as if you're dragging them towards each other to find stability to lift the torso upright. Now you could have your hands pressing on the very top of your right thigh, or you could raise the arms overhead. Feel the slight lift of your frontal hip bones rather than the pelvic bowl spilling forward. Allow your tailbone to anchor towards the earth and perhaps even tilt it forward towards your inner right heel if you're looking more for a shoulder opening back bend. If the back bend, lift the back ribs away from the tailbone, maintaining space in the lower back, and then right under your shoulder blades, begin to bend the back more to lift the chest up. Softening the shoulders down, but reaching the fingertips high. Let's take 2 more breaths. Feel the stability through your legs, the lightness right around the heart. With an exhale, lower your hands flat and step back to downward facing dog. Steady breaths, ground through finger spread. On an inhale, raise the left leg behind you, flexing the foot, pause. So feel the squaring of your hips, equal length through the sides of your body. Take another breath in. And exhale, bend the left knee towards your nose, rounding forward to plank, pause. Lift the navel and use that to softly land the foot forward just inside of your left hand. Come into your version of a lunge, either back knee lifted or on the ground. Then in your lunge, inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, draw your left thigh bone back to straighten the leg and fold just inside of it. Keep going, let's flow. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, straighten and fold. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, straighten. 2 more. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, straighten. Coming down to a lunge with the right knee on the ground. Energize your legs as if scissoring them towards each other. Find stability to rise up. Hands either pressing on the top of your left thigh or raised overhead. Now feel your pelvic bowl and its alignment as that affects your balance. It affects the space you create in the lower spine. It affects everything above it. So as you lift the frontal hip bone slightly and draw the left outer hip slightly back, right outer hip slightly forward, stabilize the pelvis. Then if you're seeking to add more of a back bend, opening the chest, try to draw your tailbone down and slightly towards your inner left heel while still drawing the left hip back. And then lift the back ribs right under the shoulder blades, tilt the chest up, then soften the shoulders down. Keep reaching up to your fingertips. 2 more breaths. On an exhale, lower your fingertips at the top of your mat, but this time step forward to fold. With feet apart, hips distance, press your legs to the ground. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward, slide the shoulders back. Exhale, fold. Perhaps you bend the knees slightly. Inhale, sweep the arms to rise all the way up. Palms come together. Exhale them to your heart. Let's flow 3 rounds of sun salutation A. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Step to your version of plank. And exhale to lower forward, then down. Either into cobra or upward facing dog. Breathe in to coil your chest up. Engage the belly to slowly lift the hips back into downward facing dog. Let's stay here for 3 to 5 deep breaths. Continuing to ground through fingers spread, lift the shoulders and hips back. Full length in the spine, full length in the breath. Let's do one more together, and the third one will be at your pace totally. So listen to how your breath leads the pace of your body. With bent knees, inhale, look forward past your fingertips. Bottom of the exhale, walk or lightly land, top of the mat. Inhale, press with your hands to lengthen forward. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise tall, palms touch. Exhale to gather the heart. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Step or lightly jump, lowering as you exhale. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog for 3 to 5 breaths. So as you resteady your breathing, when you feel it's right for you to walk or jump forward, keep going. Take one more round of Surya Namaskar A, and we'll meet in downward facing dog. A few breaths in downward facing. When you do arrive, bring your feet together to touch there. And breathe in to raise the right leg behind you. As you breathe out, bend the right knee to the right, crossing your right ankle in front of your left thigh, like a figure 4 shape. Then take a few breaths, flex the right foot to stabilize the right knee as you open the right thigh bone at the hip. Press both sitting bones up towards the sky and back towards your rear wall, shifting more weight towards the left heel, whether or not it's touching the ground. Let's take 3 more breaths, opening this right hip. Feel your hands rebound your weight off the ground, helping to draw your chest back towards your left shin, while the belly firms in towards the spine. Take a deep breath in, then exhale, cross the right knee to tap your left elbow or tricep forward in plank pose. Inhale, re-extend the right leg behind you in 3-legged dog. Exhale, touch the right tricep with your right knee in plank pose. Inhale, re-extend the leg, 3-legged dog. Last one, exhale, bend the knee towards your nose, hover, and step the foot forward right between your hands, front and center. Spin the back heel down to prepare for warrior 2. Breathe in and cartwheel your arms apart. Steady your eyes just past your right hand and use your mind's eye visualization to feel these adjustments in your physical body. Right heel lining to arch of left foot. Left knee and toes slightly facing the front of your mat. With left leg straight, you're firming the outer heel into the earth, pressing the top of your left thigh bone back towards the right edge of your mat. Keeping that, you're turning out the right leg from the hip so you feel your right sitting bone roll under your body. Bending right knee just over the ankle, aligning the middle of your right knee with your middle toe down the midline of your mat. Feel a slight lift of your frontal hip bones as you contain your center. Continue rising through the center of your spine as you relax the shoulders down. Last 2 breaths here in Virabhadrasana 2. Side angle pose, Parshvakonasana. Keep the right knee bent. Slide the hips sideways towards the rear edge of the mat. It's a very subtle movement. Reach the right hand past your right knee, then bring the right forearm to land on your right thigh. Testing. Yes. Sorry, everybody. The microphone had turned off. All right, let's come back down. Come on down to all fours, and we'll step back to downward facing dog. Sorry if you were holding that pose for a while. You couldn't hear me. Take a few breaths here, please. And on your next inhale, raise the left leg behind you. Exhale, bend the knee towards your nose. Set the foot forward just inside of your left hand. Set the right knee down. And let's rise up into a kneeling lunge for side 2. Thank you for trying to get my attention. So take your left thumb and hook the crease of your left outer hip. Draw it down. Make sure your legs are hips distance. Front knee is right over the heel. Energize the legs for stability, as if you're dragging them towards each other. Breathe in, stretch the spine forward down the center line of your mat. First, use your obliques, rotate your chest to the left. Then lower the right hand or add leverage of the right elbow outside left thigh. If you're joining the hands in prayer, continue to breathe and twist so that with your exhalations, you're turning the chest to meet your thumbs, the center of the chest. Draw the shoulder blades down your back ribs. Feel your spine lengthen from your pelvis out through the top of your head with each new inhalation. Hollowing the belly as you breathe out, continue to twist. Now, I don't want you to be uneven, so if you were here a bit longer on the first side, please do stay a little bit longer. You'll get a really nice rinse for your digestive organs and a nice release for your spine. So try to feel out the amount of time you were on the first side. And if it was shorter because you were trying to call my attention for the microphone, then make the side a little shorter, and you might add a vinyasa, lowering your hands and stepping to plank. If it was longer, then stay a little bit longer so that you're even on both sides. So vinyasa or no vinyasa will eventually meet in downward facing dog. And what a wonderful practice of Satya, honoring your truth. I tell you, there are lessons everywhere. Take your time at your pace. When you do arrive at downward facing dog, take a few deep breaths. Then with bent knees, look ahead of your hands. At the end of your exhale, walk or float to the top of your mat, forward folds. Bring your feet to touch, bend your knees to touch. Sink your weight towards your heels and chair. We're preparing to balance in eagle pose. So start by joining your hands at your heart. Shift your weight onto your left foot. Turn out your right leg and wrap it over the left. Now you could flex the right foot or tuck the toes behind the left calf. Do scissor your right hip back if it's come forward so that your hips are evenly facing forward. And then see if you can bend the left knee more or sit a little lower, as that will help to balance. Notice how you're distributing your weight to the four corners of your left foot. Now bending the elbows apart to add the arms, cross left elbow over right. Either hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms and palms and press the shoulder blades down the back. How's your breathing? This posture, Garudasana or eagle pose, is a compression posture, as you might feel. It acts like a tourniquet, inhibiting blood flow, but then when we come out of it, it gives a nice nourishing flow of blood into major joints in your body, like your knees, your shoulders, your elbows, your ankles. So prepare to release it. Take a deep breath in, lift the elbows a little higher, and then open the legs and arms. Set the right foot next to the left and come to stand in mountain pose. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Feet touch. Bend your knees. Sink your weight towards your heels. Now, as you sit low, shift your weight onto your right foot. Join your hands to your heart. You because I have an injury here and I'm practicing Satya, I'm not going to pick up my left leg, but do pick up your left leg and turn it out. Wrap the left leg over the right. Both knees are bent. Either flex your left foot or wrap the toes behind your right ankle. Then re-square your hips to face forward and see if you can sit a little lower. To add the arms, bend the elbows apart. Wrap the right elbow over the left. Either hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms and palms, sliding the shoulder blades down your back. Lift the elbows to the height of your shoulders and listen to your breath. Just a few more in Garudasana, eagle pose. Deep breath in, start to rise, lift the elbows a little higher, and then open the leg, open the arms, let your eagle fly. Let's turn to face the wide width of your mat, separating the feet wide apart, parallel, preparing for inversions. Now you might be preparing for tripod headstand, you might be preparing for an arm balance in crow, or you might be preparing for a forward fold of your choice. Let's begin with a forward fold. Place your hands on your hips, spread the toes and roll the shoulders back as you breathe in. Exhale, hinge from your hips and lower your fingertips. Now, if the ground is too low to reach, you could step the feet wider apart and or bend the knees if you don't have blocks instead. Then lift the chest forward and shift a little more weight to the balls of your feet while you lengthen your spine, including your neck. Hinging from your hips, bow, let the head go, relax the neck. Those of you staying with your feet on the ground in a forward fold, try to lift the shoulders away from the neck and use the strength of your quadriceps to support your spine. You could clasp the big toes, you could add a spinal twist, you could clasp the hands behind you, many ways to vary it. If you're moving into tripod headstand, plant the hands back, fingertips still facing forward, and imagine from plank pose, you're bending the elbows to chaturanga. The arms stay parallel, the shoulders rise away from the neck. Then place the very top of your head on the ground, putting more weight on your hands than on your head in tripod headstand, keeping a good space in the neck and the natural curvature of your neck. Then you can start to place your knees on top of your upper arms. Maybe you stay there, it's like a supported crow, or you start to lift one, maybe both, legs straight up, flexing your feet, creating a straight line like mountain pose upside down. So I'm going to take off this headpiece to actually do it now. So take whatever pose you're in, we'll eventually land in a standing forward fold. As you've made your way back to the forward fold at your own pace, crawl your fingertips forward to rise halfway up. Then bend your knees a lot and bring your hands to your hips. Slowly lead with your chest and breathe in to rise up. Let's come down to sit, extending your left leg in front of you. Take your right thigh and cross it over the left to set it for Gomukhasana, cow face pose. Now, if you're looking more for a release, if you have sciatica pain, this is a great posture to keep the legs straight. You might even use a strap to the foot and fold forward. Otherwise, you're going to take the left knee and bend it, splay the heels apart, and then raise your left arm up. So the right leg is on top, the left arm is up. Bending the left elbow behind your head so the palm lands between the shoulder blades and reaching the right hand under. Or you could either hold your strap between the hands, hold your shirt, or clasp the fingers. Then root down through the sitting bones and lift up through the center of your spine, broadening your chest. Keep your throat open and begin to bow. Feel the weight of your pelvis as you lengthen your chest forward. Physically, I love that this posture helps to open up the shoulders, as well as the glutes, lower back, outer thighs, hips, while giving a compression to stimulate and massage the digestive organs. Let's take 2 last breaths. Lead with your chest. Breathe in to slowly rise up. Release the hands and straighten both legs forward. Then take your left thigh to cross on top, trying to stack the knees in one line. Now, if you're going for that hamstring or sciatica release, you can fold forward like this, with or without a strap. Otherwise, bend both knees, splay the feet apart, and raise the right arm. Bend the elbow behind the center of your head so the palm lands between your shoulder blades. Then reach the left hand underneath, grabbing a strap, your shirt, or your fingers. Root through your sitting bones and lift through your spine. With your exhales, lead with your chest and bow forward. Little by little, deep breaths. Treating your pelvis like an anchor, keeping you grounded as your heart stays slightly lifted. Let's allow 2 more breaths here in Gomukhasana, cow face pose. Again, leading with your chest, breathe in to slowly rise up. Release the hands. So bring your feet to the ground in front. Extend your arms forward, palms up. Sit tall. And with a few breaths, very slowly lower your back and head to the ground. Again, another core stability, strengthening movement. Once you're lying down, open your arms wide like a T. Press your shoulders down and lift your legs with your knees bent right above your hips. So shins are about parallel to the floor, legs are together. Now, as we move side to side through the legs, try to keep both of your shoulders firm on the ground and not allow the legs to completely fall over to either side. Just hovering the legs using the strength of your obliques. Now keep the natural curvature in your neck and a steady, slow rhythm in the breath. Deep inhale here. With an exhale, slowly lower your legs to hover to the right. Left shoulder on the ground. Inhale, slowly lift the legs back to center. Exhale, hover to the left, keeping the right shoulder down. Inhale, up to center. If you'd like to add more rigor, straighten the legs. And exhale, hover to the right. Now you might be aiming for your right hand here, but not touching it, not collapsing the legs. Inhale, center. Exhale, hover to the left. Now if your legs are straight, one thing that I've been doing in the mornings is making a different angle. So let the feet hover forward and to the right. So diagonally towards the upper right corner of your mat. And then inhale up to center. Just helps to have, I think, changing it up and then center. And if you're doing the diagonal thing, keep going further forward, almost towards the front edge of your mat, but still diagonally reaching. Notice a new engagement there. Inhale, center. Exhale, diagonally way forward. So play with a couple more on each side at your own pace of breath, your own variations. think when we change it up a bit and add some exploration and play, it makes it more fun and it doesn't feel like such a chore, if it ever did. So when you do finish an even amount on both sides, bend your knees and catch hold of them as you rotate the thighs together and apart, helping to massage your lower back for a few breaths. Then extend your legs straight up towards the sky, keeping your pelvis on the ground. Ankles are just above the hips. Now do point or flex your feet, and then raise your hands towards the ceiling, interlacing your fingers except the index, like you're pointing at the sky to start. As you take a deep breath, slide the shoulders away. Sit down in Shavasana. And letting go of controlling your breathing. Now entering 2 minutes of meditation. If you choose to stay in Shavasana, feel free not to move. Otherwise, with gentle, slow movements, gradually lift your body upright to sit. Remember that if the mind becomes distracted and the attention wanders, part of the meditation practice is to be aware when that happens. To choose an anchor to help your mind stay present, whether it's feeling your breath, hearing a consistent sound in your background, or a mantra that you repeat to yourself in your mind. Let's begin. If you're still lying down and want to close the practice with us, gently begin to lift your body up. And as you're sitting, let's join the hands together at the heart. As we continue to the practice of yoga off the mat, I invite you to explore moments of truth throughout your day. How do you honor your truth in the moment? Satya. Let's close with one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste. Thank you for your patience with a little bit of audio or quite a bit of audio difficulty today. I do want to announce that the classes starting Monday through Saturday of next week, the donations from those classes will benefit sponsoring or helping to sponsor a speaker who is leading a workshop on Sunday the 19th on Zoom. Her name is Dr. Munea Majid. The workshop is called Awaken, Mindful Racial Equity. It's for anybody who wants to be an ally of anti-racism, people of any color, any experience with it. And we'll have a courageous conversation, and she will help us to utilize the tools in a way that's meaningful for us. So I invite you to join us, and it will be on a sliding scale pricing.